Well, today's episode is all about ChocoPro. Now, as you know, I was way behind on this one. So we're going to focus on all the recent events that they had with them, with, of course, five of them. Number 445, 446, 447, also known as Sakura-ISM, 448, and 449. Now, some matches are preliminary matches, some matches are beginning to form with battle lines and all this other stuff. So we're going to go from A to Z on all five of them to see how things will roll. And then, as always, we'll cap up our episode, as usual, with some news updates that give you guys updates on what's been happening in the world of pro wrestling, such as when the promotions are thrown out, who's booked, when matches are set, including developments that are happening in the world of pro wrestling as we speak. So, let's get ready for another episode of the Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Hey everyone, welcome to the Deleted Wrestle Zone. All things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, TNA, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, J-Rod here. So, if you are new to the channel, welcome. This is a channel we do a lot of pro wrestling reviews from various promotions, not only here in the United States, but also in Japan, Mexico, Canada, Europe, the UK. Anywhere in the world pro wrestling is not as big, but it continues to grow. We also, of course, do discussion videos, talk about various topics such as the wrestlers themselves, the promotions, factions, storylines, whatever we want to talk about. We also, of course, do more news updates. If certain information was unable to be on this episode, we can either put it on the next one or on a separate video by itself. We also, of course, do real-time news updates to keep you guys on alert if something has happened in the world of pro wrestling that needs to be addressed ASAP. We also, of course, got the Unagi Sayaka Watch and various other cool wrestling content as well. So if you like what you see, please subscribe to us or click on that subscribe button. You'll be getting a lot of daily reviews and other cool wrestling content as well. But if you like this episode, please give us a like on the like button or a nice comment in the description down below. Now, all introductions have been said. I believe it's time to rock and roll. So let's begin, of course. As I said, we are doing ChocoPro for the entirety of this episode. So let's begin with number 445. Okay, ChocoPro number 445. This took place earlier this month on May 3rd in Ichigaya Square. Now, we had our opening, which this female person, I don't know who she is. I have seen her a few times, but she often help out, do like fill in for the Jonkin tournament in case certain wrestlers they have to leave because they got to be somewhere else at another wrestling event. But she has served as referee on certain occasions, and I'm not sure if she is the helping hand or one of the new trainees that they haven't yet to debut. I don't know. So she did the opening, greeting the fans, giving the info, that sort of thing. But nonetheless, let's get started with our first match. Our first match, we have Hiroya Yawada teaming up with Nonaka Seto to take on Kao Hiromi and Kushimbo Kamen. If you guys don't know him, he's this one cool character who's like a clown, but a heart of a child, that sort of thing. He always has snacks all over him. And everybody sings his theme song when they see him instead of him playing like on the speaker. But I think many people would question because a lot of things, there's some factors. If you guys know this, Kao Hiromi is a bit of the least experience out of both Hiroyi and Nonaka Seto. That would have been played out of the factor, but I think this worked out in, of course, Kuishido's favor because For those who don't know, Kaho is a child, and she acts like one. And because apparently, for what happened, there was a moment where, of course, Nonoka and Hiroyi nearly won, but Kaho was able to save the match. But she was able to, of course, get Nonoka Seto away from the what was going on. She had her chased down, which was a setup, allowing for Kushida to pick up the win when he applied the Magistral on Hiroyi, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, Kushida Kamen and Kaho Iromi picked up the win. Now our next match, we have a bit of a three-way. We have Soy from Evolution facing off Shonshiru versus one half of the Asian Dream Tag Team Champions, Sayaka. Now, of course, many of you would probably vote Shonshiru and Sayaka most likely could pick up the win since they have a bit of the experience in Soy. I mean, Soy hasn't had, I think she's like almost a year in her career or so, but that would have been a played out factor. But the one thing is this: when it comes to three ways, we all know it's like impossible to predict because there'll be one person to try to stop the other. That's always been one thing. But however, what's her name? Sayaka was able to isolate Shonshiru away from her objective when she applied a pinfall on Soy, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, Sayaka picked up the win. Now our main event, we have Miya Yotsuba taking on Chiko Shikawa. So basically, nothing too special, but we do know, of course, Miya, as you know, has grown a lot. She's facing, of course, a former tag champion. I don't know if that would help her out in some capacity. We have seen Miya grown up for a long time. She's currently right now in her second year as a pro wrestler. I think we're almost there to her third. But nonetheless, we have seen her grown up. But she has more experience than her. She's like one of the most more energetic wrestlers. But unfortunately, that didn't do any well for Miya because she ended up being pinned by Chi, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. Now for our Jonkin tournament, well, this one I wasn't too sure where this was going to be at, but the person who walked away with the win, well, she won her mat in her three-way match. Sayaka walked away with the win with the chocolate, so I thought, not bad. So that's how this one with 445 ended. So let's move on with our next ChocoPro event, which is number 446. Okay, we continue with more with ChocoPro. This time we're doing number 446. This took place on May 4th, a day after 445. So it opened up with Emi Sakura, of course, doing the greetings, the info of the matches of the day, so that sort of thing. Now, our first match, we have a 6-woman tag team match, or 6-person actually. We have Tokiko Kihara, Rina Yamashita, Emi Sakura. They take on Kaho Hiromi, Tamara Jean from Heat Up, and of course, our current Super Asia champion, Mei Shiruga. So, of course, there are some factors in this match when it comes. Now, of course, many of you would know this. I mentioned this before. Kaho is the least experienced, most likely be targeted. But she always, of course, has her childish ways to ensure she picks up the win. That would have been one of the things that we might have noticed. And I'm sure that would have been, of course, the thought of Emi Sakura, since she is much of a smarter wrestler in the ring. But it did not turn out exactly like she would have hoped, because it was Mei Shiruga who picked up the win by pinning Emi Sakura, just like that, and of course allowing for Tamara and Kaho to restrain Tokiko and Rina away from her, and that played out pretty well. I have to say, smart move. So Mei, Tamara, and Kaho picked up a good win. Now our next win, we have Soy and Miya Yotsuba teaming up. They take on the Egg Tarts, Chiko Shikawa and Hagane Shino. Now, of course, many of you know this, that the Egg Tarts are a well-established team. They are a very functional, because, of course, Hagane Shino, he stopped being her tag team partner for a short time due to the fact that he wanted her to stop relying on him too much. And, of course, she has pulled her weight, and that allowed them to reunite and do tag team together. That's always been one of the things. Now, of course, many of you would think that Soy and Miya would have been the ones to somehow lose this match. But for some odd reason, this match ended up all the way passing the time limit draw after 15 minutes. She had this match won when she had, of course, Mia in the stretch muffler, and just like that, ding, 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 it means it was over. 15 minutes has excluded, and of course, she was not in a happy mood, basically realizing that she could not get the job done, and I'm sure it's a bit more frustrating. So I don't know what it is, but as soon as Soy and Mia were leaving, they had a little run-in with Rina Yamashita. I don't know what that was about, but yeah, that's what happened. Our main event, we have Hiroyi Yawada taking on Nonaka Seto. Now, I think some people would probably think the factors of this. For those who don't know, Nonaka Seto debuted before Hiroyi. So basically, she would have had the logical experience to pick up the win because, as you know, as I mentioned, she debuted maybe months before Hiroyi, and that would have been the factor for her to pick up her first win or so. But unfortunately, that did not do any good for her because Hiroyi was able to pick up the win by applying a submission move, and just like that, Nonaka Seto had no choice but to tap out, and just that it was over. Now for our Jonkin tournament, uh, this one was a very interesting one. So I'll skip to the end to let you guys know how this happened. The last two people that made it all the way to the final was Mia and Tamura. However, the person who walked away with the win was Miya Yatsuba. So I thought, wow, that's pretty cool. But however, what it's rare. For those who don't know, there are certain time wrestlers, they'll give the chocolate to someone else, and we see that a few times. So Miya, who felt bad for her sister, who felt like she should have won her match against Hiroyi, gave her chocolate instead. You know, I mean, being a big sister that she is, she felt bad for her. And I think that's real sweet of her, looking out for her sister, realize you may not have won, but here you go. You deserve this. So basically, I think in Mia's eyes, Nonaka should have won that match. So that's nice of her. But we'll see how things will progress with Nonaka as a singles competitor. But for right now, we are now finished with ChocoPro number 446. Let's move on with, of course, 447, known as Sakura-ISM. Continuing on with more with ChocoPro, we got number 447, also known as Sakura-ISM. Now, this was not in Ichigaya Square for anybody that would ask. This took place on the 5th of May in Tokyo Square in Itabashi, which is one of the venues they've done recently. Now, it opened up with a performance with Mei Shruga. As you ever seen Mei Shruga perform, basically she has Miya and Chi performing with her, but this time she had Nonaka Seto and Kao Hiromi joining her. So basically, they were doing the entire performance, Mei Shruga's song that she normally plays out. Now, our opening match is a four-way tag team match. Team number one, we have Shin Dragon, better consistent of Chonchiru and Shin Suzuki, former Asian Dream Tag Team Champions. And then we have Black Kamanachi, also former Tag Team Champions, Antonio Hana and Tokiko Kirihara. Then we have Hiroyi and Nonaka Seto versus Sayaka Obihiro and Sayaka, one half of the tag teams. So basically, they call them the double Sayakas. But with Sayaka Obihiro, just to put a note here, I'll just call her Obi, so that way we have no confusion whatsoever. Now, of course, when it comes to four ways, it's very unpredictable how things were going to roll up. Now, I mentioned this before. Two out of the two teams already are former tag champions. That would have been the same thing. And not to mention, Sayaka being one half of the tag champions would have been the most likely target to be pinned in order to get a chance. But however, it was Hiroyi who picked up the biggest upset when she pinned Obihiro, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. So basically, we could see Hiroyi and Nonaka Seto maybe, just maybe, pursued the Asian Dream Tag Team belts. So we'll see what happens. Our next match, we have Kao Hiromi and Tamura Jean teaming up to take on Chiko Shikawa and Chris Brooks. Now, originally, Chris Brooks was supposed to team up with, of course, with Masahiro Takanashi, but we all saw what happened. he's out on injury due to a spinal injury or so, but we don't know when he'll be back. So he picked out, of course, Chi. Chi wasn't one of those people that would have volunteered, said, pick me, pick me. No. For some odd reason, Chris Brick picked her. I mean, I would not have picked her if I was in Chris's shoes, but he did it anyway. I don't know why. But you probably would have assumed, because when it factors with Chris being more experienced in alongside with Tamara, that would have been another factor here. I mean, Kaho, as being the least experienced, that played out pretty well. I mean, Kaho, we know for someone of her size, and not to mention her childish ways, would have been one of the things that could help her. But in the end, it was, of course, a double pin by both Kaho and Tamara to put away Chico Shikawa, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. Next up, we have, of course, a singles action. We have Monetatsu Nakamura from Gambari Pro taking on Hagane Shino. So, of course, Hagane Shino, way more experienced wrestler, not to mention great striking capabilities. I wasn't too sure where this was going to be. I mean, Hagane Shino, he really is very fast for a guy of his age, and not to mention, he normally stays quiet at some times, but he was able to pick up the win when he applied a chokehold, and just like that, it was over. Now, our next match, we have Soy and Miya Yatsuba teaming up to take on Rina Yamashita and, of course, the de facto leader of Colors, Saki. So, of course, you would know that Rina Yamashita and Saki are the most well-experienced wrestlers in this entire matchup. That played out pretty well. Of course, Soy is a tough cookie. I mean, she is a fighter, doesn't stand down no matter what. But unfortunately, Mia was the one who ended up being body splashed by Rina Yamashita, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, over. Now, our next match we have for the Super Asian Championship, Mei Shruga defending her title against her mentor, Emi Sakura. Now, for those who don't know, Mei Shruga was the one who dethroned Emi Sakura last year for this belt, and now Emi Sakura is trying to reclaim it back. But the real question is, can she pull it off? I'm sure she would think of the moves that Mei would definitely try on her, but I'm sure Mei will try to counter those exactly. But however, she actually did pull off the counters on Emi Sakura, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, she retained the belt. So it was a pretty good show, I'm not gonna lie. But yes, we'll see how things roll up. They haven't. I'm not sure if they did announce for another event, big show, but I'll let you guys know as soon as possible. So as of right now, let's move on with our next event with ChocoPro number 448. Okay, as we continue again with more with ChocoPro, we got number 448 in Ichigaya Square, and this took place on May 6th. So basically, you ask yourselves, how come it happened in the same week? Well, it's because it was Golden Fight Week, that's why. So I kind of alluded that by accident. So anyway, opening up the show, we had, of course, Emi Sakura, as usual, greeting the fans, giving the info of the matches, that sort of thing. So let's begin with our first match, is tag team action. We have Hiroya Wada teaming up with Antonio Honda, taking on Shonshiru and Emi Sakura. Now, of course, if you look factors here, Antonio Honda, Shonshiru, and Emi Sakura, they have way more experience than Hiroyi. So most likely Hiroyi is the much weakest link in the match because of her experience. So that kind of played out pretty well on that part, because it was Shonshiru by Shonshiru himself that was able to pick up the win by a submission onto Hiroyi, and just like that, it was over. So Hiroyi tapped out. Next up, we have Soy and Miya Yatsuba once again teaming up. They take on Chico Shikawa and Toto Owashi, who many of you seen them in DDT. Well, yeah, it's kind of very unusual to be in this match. However, we know that Soy and Miya Yatsuba did not have a good match. I mean, they came up short in their tag match recently against Rina Yamashita and Saki. But the real question is, will that be any difference? Well, it was until Chi was able to pick up the win by applying a victory roll onto Mia, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. Now, our next match, I have to say this is one of my favorite ones because it's part 2 between these two, Kaho Hiromi and Mei Suruga. For many of you may ask, why is it part 2? This is not the first time they actually face off each other. Mei made fun of her because of her size. She's like, she's so cute. But, you know, they say, don't underestimate size. Mei kind of forgets, you're also short, Mei. You people underestimate your size. So she should know that Kaho is just like her, but a bit more childish. While she, of course, Mei Suruga, well, Baliaki has to put up with her nonsense countless times. I mean, I know Balian doesn't have any problems with Kaho because I know she acts like Mei, but she does it in a much friendlier and childish way. So of course we're gonna see some moments between them. I mean, I'm not sure exactly. I mean, Kaho has learned a lot from being in matches with her, or sometimes against her. But in the end, some of you may question how this was going to go. Well, Mei was able once again to pick up the win by pinning Kaho, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. Now, for our Junkin tournament, the person who walked out with the piece of chocolate, it was, of course, Toru Owashi. So basically, he gets the chocolate. I forgot who was the runner-up, but yeah, it was a lot of fun. So I think that's pretty much it with this one. Now let's do our last and final ChocoPro event, number 449. Okay, our last review with ChocoPro number 449. This happened, of course, back in Ichigaya Square on May 10th. Of course, the opening, we had that one female girl who I don't know her name. They never explained much about her, but I like to call her the helper. So she opened up the show, greet the fans, and give the info of the matches. Now, our first match, we have singles action. We have Hiroyi Yawada and Sayaka. So, of course, we know how this rolls up. If you notice, Sayaka has way more experience, and not to mention, she is one half of the Asian Dream Tag Team Champions with Makoto, even though she has not been booked with ChocoPro for quite some time. Well, she has to face Hiroyi Yawada. Now, Hiroyi Yawada, I mentioned this before. If her and Hinoka Seto, if they play their cards right, they could one day issue a challenge for the tag belt. But however, she has to go through Sayaka. But unfortunately, that did not do any favors for Hiroyi because she ended up being pinned by Sayaka, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. Next up, we have 6-person tag match. We have Kaho Hiromi teaming up with the Best Bros, Banaki and Mei Suruga. They take on Tokiko Kihara, Minoru Fujita, and Emi Sakura. So basically, you know how this is going to go. I mean, when it comes to Emi Sakura, I know she's determined to. I mean, she's not a big fan of Kaho. She's determined to beat Mei Suruga as her student. So you probably can guess how this was going to roll up. But however, many of you may have thought just by listening or watching this match, you would think Kaho would be the weakest link that take the fall. However, that wasn't the case because it was once again Emi Sakura that picked up the win, applying the Mahistral on Mei Suruga, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. But now I know what some of you are thinking, as Mei Suruga being the current Super Asian champion. Does this mean that Emi Sakura could actually challenge her again? I mean, we did see her challenge her not too long ago. I mean, that is the case, but Emi Sakura does have, in my opinion, to issue the challenge and cash in her opportunity. But only time will tell, so we will pay attention closely. Now for our main event, we have Soy and Mie Yatsuba teaming up once again. They take on Chiko Shikawa and Sayaka Obihiro. As you all know, this is a very important match in my opinion because, as many of you may or may not know this or don't know, Chi and Obi are in fact former tag champions. So you would say that if Soy and Mia defeat former tag champions, that could put them in the position where they can have one day an opportunity of the Asian Dream Tag Team belts. Just like I mentioned this with Hiroya and Nokaseto, that's always been one of the things I have noticed. But however, the real question is, can they pull it off? I mean, recently Soy and Miyatsuba were not successful in their tag team matches recently, but the biggest upset is, of course, is Mia, who pulled off the impossible. Now, have you ever seen Obi? And you guys know she likes to use this move called the Obi Magic. That's always been one of her strong moves to ensure she picks up the win. Well, it kind of backfired on her because Mia was able to defeat her with the help of Soy, and then applied a jackknife, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, upset. Just like that, Mia and Soy defeated the former tag champions. So most likely we can see those two, in my opinion, could one day challenge for the tag belts. But however, Mia's sister and her tag partner Hiroyi could actually issue the challenge too. But we will see what that happens. Now for our Junkin tournament, well, the winner for this one is Tokiko Kihara. So basically just like that, it was over. So that's pretty much it what we had for our ChocoPro events. Thank God I catch up. There is going to be another one coming up this Sunday, but we'll see. So as of right now, we are done. Let's move on to our last and final thing, news updates. Okay, so welcome to our news updates. So as always, let's talk about, of course, upcoming events from the promotions. As always, we begin with the pile from GCW. Now, as you know, they'll be doing some events starting next month and July as well. Now, for the ones for next month, in the month of June, they'll be making their way to Little Rock, Arkansas, called Banging in Little Rock, and this will happen on the 20th of June. 4 names have been mentioned for that particular event. We have Ilana Black, formerly known as Cora Jade, Mance Warner, KJ Orso, formerly known as Fuego del Sol, and of course YDNP, Alec Price and Jordan Oliver. And then 2 days later, on the 22nd of June in Kansas City, Missouri, we have to take a picture. And 4 names have been announced for this one. We have Effie, Billy Starks, I think it's Koger, and KJ Orso. And then, of course, a month later on July 11th in Dallas, Texas, for Boss of All Bosses, we have Ilana Black, formerly known as Cora Jade. Then we have Priscilla Kelly, formerly known as Gigi Dolan. We have Ricky and Carrie Morton as well. Now for other upcoming events. Deadlock Pro Wrestling with Limit Break on the 18th of May. We have Morgan Dash, Bojack, and Manny Lowe in a 3-way match. Now, interesting developments have around for the upcoming Natsu and Saory 10th anniversary that will take place on the 31st of May. There's going to be a showcase match in the an Acris showcase, as they call it, at the Saory Natsu 10th anniversary. Ak Yasukawa, many of you may know her, who was involved in that shoot incident with Stardom. She'll be making her appearance, and she teams up with Mari Sakimoto. They will face against Natsuki and Yukina Uehara. And now another development has been mentioned for the upcoming event, for the Natsu and Saory event. There was a very interesting development that happened I did not notice during the post-match comments in Stardom, and this happened on Korakuen Hall. If you guys remember, Yuna Mizumori picked up the win along with Natsupoi and Sayuranu, but however, they were interrupted with Rian from EXV, who approached them that she says she needed to talk to them. Now, it was still unclear what was it about until it was really revealed that Rian was asking them that she wants to be part of the match that was announced, the Master and Discipline, of course, match, which features 2 Yoshi legends and are also instructors, Yumiko Ota and Kaori Ito, who, of course, Kaori Ito, of those who know, learned from Natsupo, who was one of Natsupo's teachers. So Rian said she wants to be part of it. So later it was revealed that Miku Kane will be teaming up with Ota. But as for Rian, The reason she asked for this match was because there was a very disappointing loss for her. She felt that she could have won against Akira Kodagani in that 8-person tag match, but it didn't. So she felt like she has to do this. So Natsuko and Saory gave her blessing, so she'll team up with Kaito Ito on that very day. So we'll see how that roll up. And then finally, for our upcoming events, we have that collaboration between Prestige Wrestling, West Coast Pro, and Deadlock Pro Wrestling with United. They'll take place on June 1st. The West Coast Pro World title will be defended. Kevin Blackwell will defend the belt against Shane Hayes from TMDK, so that's going to be interesting. Now on for some developments. As you know, we're getting closer and closer for the upcoming event on the 24th of May. Rossy Ogawa, along with the current Mighty Gold World Champion Utami Ishida, were having a bit of an interview while having dinner, and the interviewer asked a question about a very interesting thing about Guilia, if she was going to participate in this event on the 24th of May. However, Rossy kind of said that he wanted her to participate in Nanae Takahashi's last match. So basically he thought, I want Guilia to be the final opponent. But due to some unforeseeable reasons, it's been unable to do so due to Guilia's commitments with WWE. So that kind of did not allow that. So that's the reason she'll end up with Miku Ano for that one. So it makes perfect sense. Now, many of you know this or not, about a month or two ago, I mentioned that Tokyo Yoshi Pro Wrestling's ring announcer Sayuri Namba will be leaving, will be graduating from the promotion next month in June. However, the real question many of us may ask, who will be her replacement? Well, she found herself a replacement. Her name is Rise Shirai. Now, I'm not sure if she has any relations with Io or Mio herself, but however, she is going to be the new ring announcer after, of course, Sayuri Namba graduates, but she'll be doing some special ring announcement, like learning from Sayuri Namba while she is now presented. So it's a good thing now that they came up with the plan. But I think many people would question, and I think many of you would ask that same question, could she live up to the same kind of hype that, of course, Sayuri Namba has done? I mean, Sayuri Namba was a unique ring announcer, and there will be no one like her. So we'll see how things will roll up. I mean, we've seen things like that with Lillian Garcia, Samantha Irvin, that sort of thing, you know. But we'll see how things will roll up. Now, for our last development, many of you know this. There's been Matt Cardona recently was interviewed with Chris Van Vliet, and they asked him if there was any possibility of an AEW contract. However, Matt Cardona kind of gave his little explanations about that. So let me pull it up what he said. Here it is. He said, if it made sense, I don't want to be anywhere just to be the guy on the roster. I know there's no guarantee in pro wrestling, but I need intent, like we see you doing things or envision you being here. So that sort of thing. He just doesn't want to be that guy that just is there, you know. That's one of the things. He wants to be like, I think, in my opinion, from what he's saying, I want to be valued. And I think he felt like he was not valued enough in WWE. But I did some people say that they hope they see him back, but WWE hasn't called him yet. But we'll see what happens. So we'll stick more to this if anything changes with Matt Cardona. So as of right now, let's call it a day. Well, I hope everybody enjoys this episode. Coming up, as you know, we will continue with day 5 of the Best of the Super Juniors. Don't know exactly what's going to happen, but we also have AEW Collision, so stay tuned for that. So the top priority will be, of course, New Japan Pro Wrestling and AEW Collision, so we'll focus on those. Now, I haven't decided if there's going to be any other type of reviews. I'm going to try to catch up with some of the Yoshi events that took place from last month all the way to now, so bear with me on that. But as of right now, we are officially done with everything else. Until then, I will see you guys in the next DWZ time, same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So, goodbye, and have a nice day. Bang.